So I was just trying to do some research on Agenda 21, and I looked it up on YouTube, and all I could find were conspiracy theorists that thought that Agenda 21 was this big thing to take away all your rights, to take away your freedoms, uh, to to implement control on your freedom and things. And I served in the military, went to Iraq, Afghanistan. I fought for freedom, right? Freedom, right? That's just the word we coin of the reason why we fight. There are thousands of reasons why we fight. All of them are very complex, but we sum it up all into freedom. So what I typically see with these conspiracy theorists are there are these little people on this planet that see themselves as like this little parcel, as this little element in a great big gigantic world that's trying to control their little parcel, their little element of freedom. And that's very small thinking. That so being in the military and college educated and kind of a world view, I've realized that if you float on the outside of our atmosphere and you look down at this planet, you see it as a whole. You look at that little parcel as being a little piece of a bigger picture. And so what these people keep saying is oh, it's not fair. They're trying to take away my freedom. They're trying to make sure that I can't go out and drive great big 1-ton trucks and drive around the woods and go exploring all I want to and spreading seed and doing all these different things that are hurting the environment. But if you only have 100,000 people on this planet, I guess you can afford to do that. You can decide to pollute one river and leave the other 19 alone. The other 19 can be a source for drinking. The one, whatever, it's polluted. Oh well, right? We have 7.5 billion people on this planet now. 7.5 billion. And we can only really sustain what? 1 to 2 billion? And so, on a bigger scale, we have to look at each individual person and say, you can't live excessively, because if we let you, then everyone else should be able to, and which means that eventually your children won't have a future, because the way each individual American, Westerner really lives is beyond their means. And it's unrealistic. It just is. I would love to be able to do all those things. I would love to be able to live however I want to live with no repercussions. It reminds me of the movie Pinocchio. I love that movie. My daughter loves it too. And when they all go to Pleasure Island, and they all live however they want to, they go around breaking things, eventually they all turn into jackasses. That's essentially what we have here. That's the situation at hand. And so the best thing that we can do is to play ball and to start living more efficiently, effectively, and quit looking at like, oh, they're trying to take away my freedom. No, they are trying to bring you back to reality. They are trying to make you live in balance where for the last 50 years we haven't had to. We've been able to do whatever we wanted to with no regard to repercussions. And so with all the conspiracy theorists on how global warming is this big conspiracy, it's not. It's real. It's just uncomfortable to think that now you're not going to be able to do the things that you used to be able to do, because now nature's coming to call at your door. And it's saying, you want to drive like this? You want to do things this way? You want to live unsustainably? Nature is like a rubber band on two sticks, like a slingshot. We have been pulling and pulling and pulling on that band, on that slingshot. And nature is pretty flexible. And so we just keep pulling and pulling until the tension's so tight. As humanity, we can no longer hold that tension. And what happens? Nature doesn't lose its elasticity. You lose your strength. And we eventually have to let go. And then it brings us a lot further in the other direction. So if we continue to do the things that we do now, unsustainably, eventually what happens is nature pushes back with 20 times the force. We want to keep that from happening. That's conspiracy for you.